Good morning, I'm Maiki Oreta, and you're watching Business 360, where we break down the numbers, connect the dots, and give you the developments and the insights you need to navigate, adapt, and lead. Let's dive right in. Big developments affecting the country, from billions in funding to a shakeup in government leadership. The World Bank approves new multi-million-dollar projects for the Philippines in transportation and healthcare. What changes are coming next? Ivan Uy resigns as Information and Communications Technology Chief. What led to his exit and who will take over? President Trump heads to Saudi Arabia, eyeing a $1 trillion deal. What could this mean for the global economy, and how could it impact us? All these stories and more coming up. First, let's take a look at how financial markets performed overnight. Wall Street closed sharply lower on Thursday as investors reacted to uncertainty over U.S. trade policies and the impact of new tariffs. President Donald Trump announced a one-month exemption for Canada and Mexico from the 25% tariffs imposed earlier this week under the U.S.-Mexico-Canada trade agreement. This comes a day after automotive goods were also exempted, with Trump initially extending relief only to Mexico before later signing an amendment to include Canada. Market reaction remains mixed as investors watch for further changes in trade policy that could impact supply chains and corporate earnings.
What you're seeing, I think, is the market reacting negatively to a lot of volatility in terms of policy outcomes. So not that we're in a bad place right now economically, it's just the range of outcomes in the short term is starting to widen to a point where investors are uncomfortable, and we're starting to see a decidedly risk-off trade in markets today. So people coming out of assets that have done very well over the last couple of years, looking for probably less risk or better valuations, however you want to phrase that.
Taking a look at how Wall Street performed overnight, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was lower by 1%, the S&P 500 down sharply, down by 1.8%, and the Nasdaq markedly lower at down by 2.61%. Taking a look at equity markets over in Europe, we're seeing a mixed picture. The FTSE lower by 0.8%, Germany's DAX up higher by 1.5%, and France's CAC 40 higher by 0.3%. Here at home, the Philippine Statistics Authority reports an uptick in the country's unemployment rate this January, a reflection of seasonal job cuts as holiday-related employment winds down. Sujin Kim has the details.
Over 500,000 Filipinos lost their jobs between December and January. The number of unemployed Filipinos soared to 2.16 million in January, a sharp increase from 1.63 million in December. The Philippine Statistics Authority attributes the job losses to seasonal employment cuts after the holiday season.
Siguro i-relate natin ito sa Christmas season, kasi December, of course, we expect higher demand for workers. Usually, ganun naman yung trend. If you look at the series, talagang ganun siya. Pag December, nag-shoot up yung number ng employed. And then suddenly sa January, bumababa na kasi wala ng demand. I mean, hindi wala, kundi na-lessen na yung demand for workers.
But it wasn't just seasonal jobs that were lost. The manufacturing sector saw a steep decline of 119,000 jobs over the past 3 months, with the electronics industry taking a big hit due to falling global demand.
It's actually declining continuously yung electronics natin, manufacturing. It's more on the demand. So parang nabawasan ng demand globally. So hindi na sila masyadong nagmamanufacture because of the demand at the world market na bumaba.
The underemployment rate, which measures the number of Filipinos looking for additional income or better jobs, jumped from 10.9% in December to 13.3% in January.
Ang malaking share na industry sa underemployment is agriculture agriculture and forestry. Ang share ng agriculture to underemployment is 44.5%. This is followed by wholesale and retail trade, repair and of motor vehicles.
Looking ahead, the National Economic and Development Authority sees a path forward. The recently signed implementing rules and regulations for the Create More Act are expected to boost investments and drive job creation. Sujin Kim, Bilyonaryo News Channel.
Nearly 20 million Filipinos are set to benefit from two major World Bank-funded projects, a move that could bolster the country's long-term development goals in transport and in healthcare. The World Bank's $454 million Mindanao Transport Connectivity Improvement Project aims to enhance sustainable transport infrastructure, boosting economic growth in Cagayan de Oro, Davao, and in General Santos, three key trade hubs. This could help bridge Mindanao's infrastructure gap, making goods and services more accessible. Meanwhile, the Philippine Health System Resilience Project will strengthen climate-resilient healthcare networks across 17 provinces, addressing critical shortfalls in health services. This initiative supports the government's goal of universal healthcare and better disaster preparedness, ensuring remote and underserved areas get the medical support that they need. The bigger picture, both projects align with the Philippines' long-term economic and social development goals, helping to drive inclusive growth and resilience in the face of climate and economic challenges. Now, Malacanang confirms the resignation of Ivan Uy as Secretary of the Department of Information and Communications Technology, or DICT, a move that raises questions about the future of the country's digital infrastructure push. His exit comes amid criticism over frequent foreign trips and alleged delays in key digital infrastructure projects, including initiatives aimed at expanding internet access and cybersecurity. The DICT has also faced pressure over its slow response to connectivity issues, a crucial concern as the Philippines seeks to strengthen its digital economy. Sources indicate that Senator Grace Poe may be his successor. Her possible appointment could signal a shift in priorities, potentially bringing a stronger focus on consumer welfare, telecommunications reforms, and internet accessibility. But with the Philippines still lagging behind its regional peers in digital infrastructure and connectivity, the transition at the DICT could either accelerate or delay much-needed reforms. The NC has reached out to Senator Poe's office for comment, but has yet to receive a response. Actor and TV host Vice Ganda calls on Filipinos to fulfill their tax obligations as the comedian is recognized as one of the top taxpayers in Quezon City. Sujin Kim returns with this report.
Wow, top taxpayer. Next top model lang ang gusto ko dati. Ngayon top taxpayer na ako.
I don't want to let go of the award. My gosh, we worked hard for this.
Several media personalities were recognized as Quezon City's top taxpayers. Among the awardees were Julia Barreto, Jeneline Mercado, Catriona Gray, Vice Ganda, and Kim Chu, all lauded for their contributions to the nation through diligent tax compliance. Noontime show host Vice Ganda expressed pride in being among the top taxpayers.
Parang may nagawa kang tama para sa bansang to, 'di ba? At mayroon kang naiambag sa bansang ito, 'di ba? Parang pag top taxpayer, ay ang saya kasi bilang Pilipino, sumunod ako sa batas. 'Di ba? May nagawa akong tama para sa lipunan natin.
For Vice Ganda, paying taxes is not just about fulfilling a legal obligation, but it's also about giving back to the country.
Talagang dapat tayong magbayad ng buwis dahil napakalaking bagay ang mga buwis na ibinabayad ninyo. Mga buwis na nakokolekta po nila ay ginagamit nila upang maiangat ang kalidad ng buhay ng mga Pilipino. Diba? Ginagamit din for nation building. Diba? To uplift the quality of lives of the Filipino people. Kaya tama po, magbayad po tayo ng buwis.
She also emphasized that taxes are the lifeblood of public services and are crucial for nation building. However, she stressed that the responsibility of a taxpayer doesn't end with paying taxes. Citizens must also ensure that their money is used properly.
Pagkatapos nating magbayad ng buwis, karapatan din nating obligahin ang mga hahawak ng mga buwis na ibinabayad natin. Dahil hindi madali kung paano natin kinita ang ipangbabayad natin ng buwis. Meron tayong karapatan na tanungin din, nasan yung binayad nating buwis? Nasaan na po yung quality of life? Nasaan na po yung projects? Diba? Nasaan na po yung tulay? Bakit po bumagsak ang tulay sa Isabela? Karapatan natin yon, tama po ba? Karapatan natin kumwestiyon at magsalita at bumoses dahil pera po natin ang ginamit doon.
Bureau of Internal Revenue Commissioner Romeo Lumagi Jr. supported Vice Ganda's call for transparency.
Sa sinabi ni Vice Ganda, sinabi niya na hindi, magbayad tayo kahit ano pa mangyari niyan. Pero tungkulin natin, nabantayan din. Pero bago natin gawin yan, magbayad talaga tayo dahil obligasyon natin yan. At bantayan na lang natin. Of course, karapatan din naman talaga natin yan na tingnan na nagagamit ang pondo sa tamang paraan.
Lumagi also highlighted the influence of celebrities in encouraging Filipinos to comply with tax laws.
Tingin ko importante to, no, dahil alam naman natin na ang mga celebrities ay iniidolo ng karamihan nating mga kababayan. So pagka napapakita na itong mga idolo natin ay nagbabayad ng tamang buwis, ay tingin ko naman na malaking bagay ito na makapanghikayat din sa ating mga taxpayers na mag-report at magbayad ng tamang buwis.
Miss Universe 2018 Catriona Gray urged the BIR to improve tax systems, making it easier for Filipinos to comply.
I hope that the people that will be here today will be an example to inspire you all to do the same. But I also request that the BIR continues to create systems and put them in a place that allow us to be taxpayers who are able to be responsible taxpayers so that we can continue to fulfill our responsibilities as citizens.
Actress Catherine Bernardo says even showbiz personalities are no exception.
As a Filipino, it's a responsibility to pay taxes on time. Even us actors are no exception.
Sujin Kim, Bilyonaryo News Channel.
Starting March 10, the Department of Agriculture will enforce a maximum suggested retail price on pork sold in wet markets across Metro Manila, a move aimed at stabilizing meat prices and supporting the livestock industry. Secretary Francisco Tu Laurel Jr. says the price cap will help ease pressure on consumers facing high food costs while ensuring the sustainability of the pork sector, which continues to struggle with the impact of African swine fever. Under the new pricing scheme, liempo or pork belly, a popular cut for grilling and roasting, will be capped at 380 pesos per kilo. Kasim or shoulder and pige or the hind leg, commonly used in stews, adobo and ham, will be set at 350 pesos per kilo. The department plans to review the pricing after a month to determine if adjustments are needed. On another front, Transportation Secretary Vince Dizon orders the termination of the contractor for the unified Grand Central Station, a project designed to connect LRT1, MRT3, and MRT7, a crucial step in reducing commute times, decongesting major stations, and improving urban mobility. Dizon announced that the Department of Transportation will terminate its contract with BF Corporation, a construction firm founded by the late MMDA chairman and former Marikina Mayor Bayani Fernando. He warns that the company may also face penalties for failing to meet project deliverables. But with the contract terminated, the timeline for completion remains unclear, raising concerns about further delays in one of the country's most anticipated transport projects. We're taking a quick break. Please stay with us as we dive deep into the numbers and the narratives that matter most to your bottom line. Welcome back. Let's take a look at how bourses in Asia are faring in early trade following Wall Street's big sell-off overnight. Taking a look over here in Asia, the Nikkei 225 is sharply lower, down by almost 2%, down by 1.7%. Hong Kong's Hang Seng Index is lower by 1%. Shanghai Composite not down by as much, down by 0.25%. Over in Singapore, we are seeing flat trading with a negative bias. The Singapore Straits Times Index is lower by just 0.1%. Now let's take a look at how our shares here at home are doing. Recall that Philippine stocks rallied past 6,200 200 on Thursday as investors welcome cooler than expected February inflation and a temporary relief from U.S. auto tariffs. The PSE index jumped 1.6% to 6220, its highest close in a month, as February inflation slowed to 2.1% from 2.9%, fueling expectations that the BSP could soon ease monetary policy again. Now, foreign investors also logged net inflows of 276.73 million pesos, which also supported the peso. Now, analysts say a one-month delay in U.S. auto tariffs also added to the market optimism. Taking a look at the PSE index, the main gauge is higher by 0.4% despite Wall Street's sell-off last night. The main gauge is at 62.43. The broader all shares index going the other way, down by 0.5% to 36.81. As for the sub-indices, I'm seeing a mixed picture here. The financials, holding firms, and property counters are in the red, while the industrial, services, and mining and oil counters are in the green. Now, at the foreign exchange market, the peso opened steady at 57.30 against the greenback from its previous close of 57.32. Now, amid extreme heat, the Philippine Health Insurance Corporation reassures members that it covers hospitalization for heat-related illnesses. PhilHealth Acting President and CEO Erwin Mercado says members and their dependents hospitalized for heat stroke or heat exhaustion at PhilHealth accredited facilities can avail of benefit packages exceeding 12,500. A similar package is also available for heat fatigue. With the heat index recently soaring to 46 degrees Celsius, several areas have already suspended classes due to the intense temperatures. Now, the local government of Palawan approves a 50-year ban on new mining permits, a major move to protect one of the country's most biodiverse provinces. But it also raises questions about resource management and economic impacts. In a unanimous vote, the provincial board rejected new mining proposals, citing deforestation, flooding, and indigenous displacement as key concerns raised by environmental activists. Currently, 11 mines operate in Palawan, with several more applications pending. Environmental lawyer Griselda Anda, who advocated for the ban, insists that Manila cannot overturn the LGU's decision, which now awaits the governor's final signature. If signed into law, the ban could influence other provinces to impose similar restrictions, potentially challenging national mining policies. It also reflects growing local opposition to extractive industries amid environmental and livelihood concerns. We're taking a short break. Business 360 will be right back. Welcome back. U.S. President Donald Trump says that he will soon decide whether to revoke temporary legal status for nearly 250,000 Ukrainians in the U.S., a move that could mark a major shift in immigration policy. These refugees were allowed entry under President Joe Biden's administration, but Trump's potential decision could fast-track their deportation. The move would be part of a broader plan to roll back legal protections for more than 1.8 million migrants who entered the U.S. under temporary humanitarian parole programs implemented during the Biden administration. Beyond Ukrainian refugees, this signals a harder line on immigration, which could also affect Filipinos and other migrant communities relying on temporary legal status in the U.S. It also raises questions about Washington's commitment to Ukraine as the war with Russia continues. U.S. President Donald Trump says his first foreign trip next month will likely be to Saudi Arabia, a visit that could have major economic and geopolitical implications. Trump aims to secure $1 trillion investment from Riyadh into the U.S. economy, a deal that could strengthen economic ties between the two nations. His Middle East Special Envoy Steve Witkoff also confirmed that Saudi Arabia will host a U.S.-Ukraine meeting next week to discuss a potential ceasefire in the Ukraine war. Beyond the economic impact, Trump's choice of Saudi Arabia as his first destination underscores the kingdom's growing diplomatic influence and its role in brokering international negotiations, including the ongoing conflict between Ukraine and Russia.
Are you still thinking of going to Saudi Arabia and meeting with Putin about this? I don't know. I can't tell you. I'm going to Saudi Arabia.
Mr. President,
They've been very, I've made a deal with Saudi Arabia where, because normally you'd go to UK first, and last time I went to Saudi Arabia, they put up $450 billion. You know that, right? You were there.
Pope Francis sends his first audio message since being hospitalized for double pneumonia nearly 3 weeks ago, a sign of his recovery and concerns about his health. This amid concerns about his health, rather. A two-line message recorded by the pontiff was played during a nightly prayer service in St. Peter's Square at the Vatican.
I thank you from the bottom of my heart for your prayers for my health from the square. I accompany you from here. May God bless you and the Virgin protect you. Thank you.
Che Dio lo bendiga. Y te la Virgen. Gracias.
This message came shortly after the Vatican announced that the Pope remains stable and continues his treatment at the Gemelli Hospital in Rome. Now, Volkswagen unveils a new electric vehicle, the ID Everyone, as it pushes for affordable EVs amid growing competition in the auto industry. The compact EV is slated to enter the European market in 2027 with a target price of 20,000 euros or about $21,000, positioning it as one of the cheapest electric cars in the market. This comes as automakers race to lower EV costs and expand their lineups amid pressure from China's growing dominance in the sector and stringent EU regulations on emissions. Volkswagen says that the vehicle is designed to bring electric mobility to a wider audience.
A car that we designed around the customer, from hardware, software to the design. And it fits for everybody, for old, young people, commercial applications like care services and so on. So the vehicle it's got great range. It has a huge room inside. It's bigger than the Polo inside, and it has first and foremost an adaptable electronic architecture that makes it customizable for the customer. Fantastic car. So if you were not already Volkswagen, this would be a Volkswagen.
From EVs to a breakthrough in smartphone design, Chinese tech firm Cignal unveils the world's thinnest smartphone, the Spark Slim, at the Mobile World Congress in Barcelona. At just 5.75 millimeters thick, it pushes the limits of phone design. But for now, it remains a concept device. Alongside the ultra-thin phone, Cignal also showcased a new AI glasses and the MegaBook S14 laptop, highlighting its expansion into next-gen tech. A sneak peek into the future. But as always, the question remains, will these innovations make it to store shelves?
The S14 delivers real-time transcription, auto-detects languages, and immediately turns speech into text. After meetings, it can summarize and extract the key points of your meetings. The Cignal AI Glasses Pro can solve this. Run, cycle, or work, you can stay connected hands-free. Just answer your calls and check messages without touching your phone. When you are traveling, our AI Glasses Pro can translate menus, signs, and art description in real time, breaking language barriers on the go.
And that's it for Business 360. I'm Maiki Oreta. Keep it here on BNC, the Bilyonaryo news channel, always on top.